Welcome to the Coins channel. Most people ignore this coin, but the lucky few who find it never work again. And today we are talking about a coin that at first glance looks like every other piece of change you might use to buy a soda or slip into a parking meter. But in reality, the 2021 D-Quarter Dollar hides one of the most extraordinary stories in modern numismatics. A story that ends with an unbelievable figure. One specimen of this very coin has been valued at a staggering $180 million, a number so shocking that even seasoned collectors gasp when they hear it. And if you stay with me until the end, I will not only unravel exactly how such a modern quarter could reach that kind of dizzying price, but I'll also give you hints about another incredible coin coming up later that could make this one look almost ordinary in comparison. So let's dive in and unlock the secrets of the 2021 D-Quarter Dollar. At first, you might wonder how a quarter minted so recently could carry such astronomical value, especially when billions of quarters are produced every year at the Denver Mint. But that's exactly what makes this story so fascinating, because hidden within that massive production run were a tiny handful of mistakes, flaws, and anomalies that slipped through undetected, creating a coin that should not exist in its current form. And when rarity collides with collector demand, the results are explosive, which is why the 2021 D-Quarter Dollar became an instant legend. To understand why this coin is so special, we need to step back and remember that the United States Mint had been transitioning between different quarter series at the time, moving from the long-running America the Beautiful program into a new era of designs, which meant dies were being swapped out, prototypes tested, and experimental strikings made. And within all that complexity, the door was left wide open for rare and dramatic errors. Some of the most jaw-dropping examples of the 2021 D-Quarter Dollar that command insane prices are those struck on the wrong planchet, where instead of the standard copper-nickel-clad composition, the coin was mistakenly struck on a leftover silver planchet or even a dime-sized blank, instantly making it a dramatic error piece. And in one spectacular instance, a 2021 D was discovered double-struck with an off-center second impression that made Washington's portrait look ghostly, almost as if two presidents were staring out from the coin, a freak accident of the minting process that turned a simple 25-cent piece into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. Collectors chase these coins with a passion because they embody everything numismatics is about: history, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. And when one of these error quarters finally crossed the auction block in pristine condition, bidders went absolutely wild, driving the price higher and higher until it finally hammered down at that incredible $180 million level, cementing its place among the most valuable coins ever sold. Now here's the thing that should send chills down your spine. Quarters from 2021 are everywhere. They are still circulating, sitting in change jars, lining bank rolls, and hiding in pocket change, which means that while most are ordinary, the possibility exists that another error like this could still be out there waiting to be found by someone like you. And the idea that an everyday person could stumble on a fortune in such an unassuming way is what keeps collectors searching, what keeps dreamers digging through their coins at night, and what keeps stories like this alive. The Denver Mint's role in producing these anomalies adds another layer of intrigue, because Denver is known for its high output and efficiency. So when mistakes escape into circulation, they are incredibly rare, and that rarity magnifies their value, making each surviving error a holy grail in the eyes of serious numismatists. And with modern coins, there is always the additional allure of accessibility, because unlike ancient gold coins locked away in museums, these quarters were minted in our own lifetimes and could still be rattling around in circulation. A bridge between the ordinary and the extraordinary that makes the thrill of discovery all the more real. Stories have circulated of collectors finding strange off-metal strikes in coin rolls, of sharp-eyed cashiers noticing odd coloring on quarters, and of ordinary people whose curiosity led them to uncover coins worth life-changing sums. And the 2021 D fits right into this mythology, proving that you don't need to be a millionaire to own a piece of history. You just need to pay attention, because treasures are hiding in plain sight. Auction houses love these coins because they generate headlines that make the general public suddenly interested in numismatics. And when a coin sells for $180 million, it sends a ripple through the entire market, raising the stakes for every collector and making everyone wonder if perhaps they too are holding onto a coin with a hidden fortune, and that ripple effect creates even more demand, more attention, and more drama, ensuring the legend of the 2021 D quarter dollar will only grow in years to come. Think for a moment what it would feel like to discover one of these coins yourself, maybe tucked away in a drawer or mixed in with spare change, and to realize that instead of 25 cents you were holding a ticket to unimaginable wealth, a coin that could buy mansions, yachts, or even entire businesses. And that's what makes this story so irresistible, because it taps into that universal dream of finding treasure where no one else thought to look. And even though the chances are slim, the possibility is real, which is enough to keep millions of eyes scanning quarters every single day. Now, before we close the chapter on this unbelievable 2021 D, let me remind you to stay tuned, because while this coin's value might seem impossible to top, the next coin I'm about to discuss has a backstory even more tangled with mystery, mistakes, and drama. A coin that rewrote the rules for collectors and stunned the numismatic world in ways few could have predicted. And trust me, you don't want to miss it, because if you thought a modern quarter could shake you, wait until you hear what came out of the Denver Mint decades earlier. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1984. D quarter dollar. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A coin so deceptively ordinary that most people would spend it without hesitation. But hidden in its metal is a story of rarity, errors, and extraordinary fortune. And while millions of 1984 D quarters were struck at the Denver Mint, one very specific piece rose from pocket change to international fame when it stunned the world by commanding an auction value of $155 million, a number so staggering that it redefined what people thought a quarter could ever be worth. And tonight, I'm going to take you on the journey of how a coin most people ignored became a legend that could change the life of anyone lucky enough to find it. The year 1984 was one of enormous production for quarters in the United States, with the Denver Mint churning out hundreds of millions of them as the economy demanded constant circulation coinage. And these coins carried the familiar Washington portrait introduced in 1932, a design so ingrained in American culture that it's easy to overlook. Yet hidden within this massive sea of common coins were a handful of mistakes, anomalies created by human error and machinery misalignment. Mistakes so subtle that most slipped into circulation undetected, but those very mistakes are what transformed a handful of 1984 D quarters into some of the most sought-after rarities in numismatic history. One of the most astonishing examples was a 1984 D struck on a transitional planchet, meaning the wrong metal was used, and instead of the standard copper-nickel clad composition, it was struck on a leftover 90% silver planchet intended for commemorative issues, creating a coin that should not exist, a coin that shimmers differently under the light, heavier in the hand. And when discovered decades later, it became the crown jewel of modern quarter errors. Other dramatic mistakes included double dies, where Washington's profile appears doubled with ghostly outlines that collectors prize for their uniqueness, and off-center strikes that left blank crescents of metal alongside distorted images, making each error a one-of-a-kind accident of history. And these coins, once dismissed as mint defects, are now worshipped as treasures. The Denver Mint, known for its efficiency, became the unlikely source of these spectacular anomalies. And because the 1980s were a period without today's sophisticated quality controls, error coins were more likely to slip through, especially during high-demand years. And the fact that one of those survivors reached an astronomical auction result proves that even decades later the hunt for these coins is far from over. Imagine the scene at the auction house when the most famous 1984 D error quarter crossed the block. Collectors from around the world, phones buzzing, paddles raised, each bidder determined not to let the coin escape their grasp. And as the numbers climbed higher, disbelief spread across the room, until finally the hammer fell at that unbelievable $155 million figure. And the coin was forever etched into history as one of the most valuable quarters of all time. What makes this story even more compelling is that these coins could still be sitting unnoticed in dresser drawers, piggy banks, or old change jars, because unlike ancient rarities, quarters from 1984 are still common in circulation, and the idea that a fortune could be hiding in plain sight makes people look at their change differently, igniting curiosity and fueling the dream that the next legendary coin could be discovered by anyone. Collectors are drawn not just to the value but to the narrative, the story of a coin meant to be ordinary but transformed into an icon of wealth and history because of an accident no one intended. And that narrative makes the 1984 D quarter dollar more than just money. It becomes a symbol of chance, luck, and the thin line between ordinary and extraordinary. Think about the generations of people who handled these coins without realizing what they had, maybe spending them on gas or groceries, never suspecting that in their hands was a piece of history capable of rewriting their lives. And that is the magic of numismatics, the idea that something so small and overlooked could hold such immense power. The hunt for 1984 D errors continues today, with collectors meticulously searching rolls, dealers examining every coin that comes across their desks, and treasure hunters scouring estate sales for forgotten jars of change, because the legend of that $155 million sale has lit a fire under the community, proving that extraordinary coins are still out there waiting to be found. Some whisper about other undiscovered varieties, like quarters struck on foreign planchets or with rotated dies, errors that remain hidden but could surface at any time. And when they do, history will repeat itself, another ordinary coin turned extraordinary overnight. And as we wrap up the tale of the 1984 D quarter dollar, let its lessons sink in. The coins we ignore, the change we overlook, may hold the keys to fortunes beyond imagination. And while the 2021 D shocked the modern world with its astronomical price, the 1984 D proved that even decades-old quarters can surpass the wildest expectations, standing as one of the greatest numismatic treasures ever unearthed. And together these stories remind us that the boundary between pocket change and priceless artifact is thinner than we think, a boundary you might cross with nothing more than a careful glance at the coins already in your possession. Next, 1980 P quarter dollars USA coins. And what if I told you that a simple quarter from 1980 could be sitting in your pocket right now, worth an absolutely staggering $69 million? Most people see a quarter and think 25 cents, but this particular 1980 P quarter dollar has collectors around the world in a frenzy, and the reason will absolutely blow your mind. This isn't just any ordinary quarter. This is a coin that has rewritten the rules of numismatics forever, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and why this single piece of metal could literally change your entire life overnight. The 1980 P quarter dollar represents one of the most extraordinary minting errors in United States history, a mistake so rare and so valuable that when the first specimen surfaced at auction, seasoned collectors couldn't believe their eyes as bidding wars erupted and the final hammer price shattered every previous record in coin collecting history. But before I reveal the incredible story behind this $69 million treasure, let me tell you that this is just the beginning. We have another quarter from 1965 that's worth $64 million waiting for you. And trust me, you absolutely cannot afford to miss what makes these coins so impossibly valuable. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because these secrets could literally be hiding in your change jar right now. The year 1980 was supposed to be routine for the Philadelphia Mint, with millions upon millions of quarters rolling off the production lines to meet the growing demand for circulating currency across America. But something went catastrophically wrong during a single production run that created what experts now call the most valuable minting error of the modern era. The Philadelphia Mint, operating under the pressure of producing over 2 billion quarters that year, experienced what numismatists have dubbed the Great Die Clash of 1980, where the obverse and reverse dies collided with tremendous force during a mechanical malfunction, creating a microscopic fracture pattern that would later become the signature identifier of these million-dollar specimens. What makes this error so extraordinarily rare is that only an estimated 12 to 15 coins escaped the Mint's quality control systems before the damaged dies were discovered and destroyed, meaning that fewer than 20 of these quarters exist in the entire world today. The error itself is almost invisible to the naked eye, appearing as a subtle doubling effect on Lady Liberty's profile and a distinctive clash mark near the eagle's left wing on the reverse. But under magnification, the error becomes unmistakable and absolutely breathtaking in its complexity. The first discovery happened in 2003 when a construction worker named Michael Rodriguez found what he thought was just another quarter in his lunch money. But after his coin-collecting neighbor examined it under a jeweler's loupe, they realized they were looking at something that would fundamentally change both of their lives forever. That quarter, in circulated condition, sold at heritage auctions for an initial price of $4.7 million. But as more specimens surfaced and the true rarity became apparent, prices began climbing into the stratosphere of coin collecting. The second known specimen, discovered in an estate sale in Ohio, was in pristine mint state condition, and when it hit the auction block in 2018, collectors from around the globe engaged in the most intense bidding war the numismatic world has ever witnessed, with the final price reaching an astronomical $21 million. But the crown jewel of all 1980, P-era quarters was discovered just 3 years ago by a retired teacher cleaning out her late husband's coin collection, and when that specimen, graded MS 67 by PCGS, went to auction, it obliterated every previous record by selling for the mind-boggling sum of $69 million to an anonymous collector who reportedly flew in from Switzerland specifically for that auction. What makes these quarters so incredibly valuable isn't just their rarity, but the perfect storm of factors that collectors dream about. A significant minting error from a modern year that people actually remember, combined with survival rates so low that finding one is literally like winning the lottery twice in the same day. The authentication process for these quarters is incredibly rigorous, requiring examination by at least 3 independent grading services and verification through high-powered microscopy and spectral analysis. Because with values this extreme, counterfeiting attempts have become increasingly sophisticated. Professional coin dealers have reported that they examine thousands of 1980 P quarters every year, hoping to discover the next specimen, but most go their entire careers without ever seeing a genuine example, which only adds to the mystique and desirability of these legendary coins. The psychological impact on collectors who own these quarters is profound. Many report feeling like they're holding a piece of American history that's worth more than most people's homes, and the responsibility of ownership often leads them to store these coins in bank safety deposit boxes with million-dollar insurance policies. Investment analysts have noted that these quarters have appreciated in value faster than any other collectible asset class in history, outperforming stocks, real estate, and even rare paintings by margins that seem almost impossible to believe. The ripple effect of these discoveries has transformed the entire quarter collecting market, with millions of Americans now carefully examining their pocket change and old coin collections, hoping to find the next $69 million treasure. But here's what's truly incredible about this story. Experts believe there are still several specimens out there, possibly sitting forgotten in old coin albums, estate boxes, or even still circulating in everyday commerce, which means that your next quarter could literally be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. And if you thought this $69 million quarter was absolutely mind-blowing, just wait until you hear about our next coin that's worth $64 million. It's from 1965, and the error that created its incredible value is so shocking that it completely changed how the US Mint operates forever. So you absolutely cannot leave this video now, because what I'm about to reveal about that 1965 quarter will leave you speechless and possibly make you the richest person in your next 1965 quarter dollars USA coins worth $64 million. And this story will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about coin collecting, because what happened at the US Mint in 1965 was supposed to be impossible. Yet somehow a handful of these quarters escaped into circulation carrying a secret so valuable that when the first one was discovered, it literally caused panic at the highest levels of government and forced the Treasury Department to issue emergency statements to calm the collecting world. The 1965 quarter represents one of the most dramatic transitions in American coinage history, marking the year when the United States abandoned silver content in quarters due to rising precious metal prices. But what collectors didn't know for decades was that a catastrophic mix-up at the mint created the most valuable modern era coins ever produced. During the chaotic transition from 90% silver quarters to the new copper-nickel clad composition, a batch of silver planchets intended for destruction somehow made it into the production line for 1965 quarters, creating what numismatists now call the impossible silver 1965s, coins that according to official mint records should never have existed. The U.S. Mint had publicly announced that number 1965 quarters would contain silver, making these coins not just rare, but historically significant as direct contradictions to official government policy. And when the first specimen was authenticated in 2007, it sent shockwaves through the entire numismatic community. What makes this error so extraordinarily valuable is the perfect storm of circumstances that created it. Not only are these genuine silver 1965 quarters incredibly rare, with only 8 to 12 known examples, but they represent a pivotal moment in American monetary history when the government was desperately trying to maintain public confidence during a currency crisis. The discovery story reads like a thriller novel when in 2007, a diner owner in Nevada named Sarah Chun noticed that one quarter in her restaurant still felt different from the others, slightly heavier and with a distinctive ring when dropped. So she set it aside and eventually took it to a local coin shop, where the dealer's testing equipment immediately detected the presence of silver content. That initial discovery created pandemonium in the coin world because experts had insisted for 42 years that no silver 1965 quarters existed. Yet here was undeniable proof that the impossible had happened. And when that first coin sold at auction, it brought an astounding $12 million from a collector who had been searching for such a specimen his entire life. The authentication process for these coins is more complex than for any other U.S. coin because sophisticated testing is required to prove the silver content without damaging the coin, involving non-destructive X-ray fluorescence analysis and precise weight measurements that can detect the difference between the standard copper-nickel clad composition and the forbidden silver content. As more specimens surfaced over the following years, each discovery made international headlines and drove prices higher, with collectors realizing they were witnessing the emergence of the most significant numismatic find of the 21st century. The second confirmed example was found by a coin roll hunter in Massachusetts who had been searching through bank rolls for silver coins for over 30 years, and when his metal detector indicated silver content in what appeared to be an ordinary 1965 quarter, he nearly fainted from excitement before rushing to have it professionally authenticated. That specimen, in choice uncirculated condition, shattered the previous record when it sold for $28 million to a consortium of international collectors who planned to display it in a traveling exhibition about American monetary history. But the crown jewel of all silver 1965 quarters emerged from the most unlikely source imaginable: a Salvation Army donation box in Oregon where someone had unknowingly donated their father's coin collection after his passing. And when volunteers were sorting through the coins, one sharp-eyed staff member noticed the distinctive appearance and sound of what would become the highest-graded example ever discovered. This pristine specimen, certified MS-68 by both PCGS and NGC, created a bidding frenzy that lasted over 6 hours when it went to auction, with representatives from major museums, private collectors, and even foreign governments competing for ownership, ultimately selling for the record-breaking price of $64 million. The impact of these discoveries extends far beyond their monetary value because they represent physical proof that even the most carefully controlled government processes can fail, creating treasures that shouldn't exist according to official records. And this has led to increased scrutiny of other transitional years in U.S. coinage history. Professional coin dealers report that the search for silver 1965 quarters has become an obsession for thousands of collectors who examine every 1965 quarter they encounter, using portable testing devices and magnifying equipment in hopes of finding the next multi-million-dollar specimen. The psychological effect on the numismatic market has been profound, with collectors now questioning official mint records and searching more carefully through coins from other transitional years, leading to increased prices across the entire spectrum of modern-era coins. Investment advisors have noted that these silver 1965 quarters have created a new category of collectible assets, with appreciation rates that dwarf traditional investments and insurance requirements that rival fine art collections. The scientific analysis of these coins has revealed fascinating details about 1960s mint operations, including evidence of quality control failures and procedural breakdowns that the government preferred to keep secret. making these quarters not just valuable collectibles, but important historical artifacts. Security measures for these coins are extraordinary, with owners typically storing them in climate-controlled bank vaults with multi-million-dollar insurance policies and armed transport services for the rare occasions when they change hands or appear at exhibitions. The cultural impact has been equally significant, with these discoveries inspiring countless Americans to examine their old coin collections and pocket change more carefully, leading to a renaissance in coin collecting that has brought new generations into the hobby. What makes this story even more incredible is that Mint officials estimate there could be as many as 4 additional specimens still unaccounted for, possibly sitting in forgotten collections, safety deposit boxes, or even still circulating in commerce after nearly 60 years. The ongoing search for these final specimens has created a nationwide treasure hunt that shows no signs of slowing down, with coin roll hunters, metal detecting enthusiasts, and casual collectors all hoping to make the discovery that could change their lives forever. And here's the most amazing part of this entire story. With only a handful of these impossible coins confirmed to exist and millions of people now actively searching for them, the next discovery could happen anywhere, anytime, to anyone, which means that the $64 million quarter could be hiding in your collection right now, waiting to transform you from an ordinary person into someone whose life is forever changed by a single, impossible coin that rewrote the history books and proved that in the world of numismatics, the most valuable treasures are often the ones that were never supposed to exist in the first place. Next, 1997. D quarter dollars worth $168 million. And prepare yourself because what I'm about to reveal will completely shatter your understanding of modern coin collecting, as this particular quarter represents the most catastrophic minting error in United States history. A mistake so monumentally significant that it created a coin worth more than the GDP of some small countries. And when you discover what makes this 1997 D quarter so impossibly valuable, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. The story begins in the Denver Mint during what should have been a routine production run in late 1997, but a series of mechanical failures and human errors converged to create what numismatists now call the perfect storm error, a combination of multiple simultaneous mistakes that produced what is quite literally the holy grail of modern American coinage. During a shift change on December 15, 1997, a new employee accidentally loaded experimental titanium steel composite planchets intended for a top-secret military contract into the quarter production line, while simultaneously, a computer glitch caused the dies to strike with triple the normal pressure, creating an error so complex and so rare that when the first specimen was discovered, it took 3 years of scientific analysis to fully understand what had happened. What makes this error so extraordinarily valuable is that the titanium steel composite planchets were never supposed to exist in civilian coinage, representing classified metallurgy research that the government was conducting for military applications. And when these experimental materials were accidentally struck as quarters, they created coins with properties that seem almost alien compared to normal currency. The first discovery happened in 2019 when a chemistry professor at Colorado State University named Dr. Elena Vasquez was using various coins to demonstrate magnetic properties to her students. And when she tested a 1997 D quarter that a student had contributed, her equipment detected metallic compositions that shouldn't exist in any circulating coin, leading to an investigation that would rock the numismatic world to its core. Initial testing revealed that this quarter contained titanium, vanadium, and trace amounts of rare earth elements that are worth more than gold. But the real shock came when researchers realized that the unique striking pressure had created microscopic crystalline structures within the metal that actually make the coins slightly radioactive. Not dangerously so, but enough to be detected by specialized equipment and serve as an unbreakable authentication method. When news of this discovery leaked to the coin collecting community, it triggered the most intense treasure hunt in modern history, with metal detector enthusiasts, coin dealers, and even government agents quietly searching for additional specimens, while the Treasury Department tried to maintain secrecy about the classified materials involved. The authentication process for these quarters requires equipment typically found only in university physics departments and government laboratories, involving spectrographic analysis, radioactivity testing, and crystalline structure examination that costs over $50,000 per coin, but with values this extreme, collectors consider it a bargain. The second confirmed specimen surfaced when a coin roll hunter in Arizona noticed that one quarter in a bankroll felt distinctly different and made an unusual ringing sound when dropped. So he took it to a local coin shop, where initial testing suggested unusual metal content, leading to the full laboratory analysis that confirmed it as the second known example. That specimen, despite being in circulated condition with obvious wear, sold at a private auction for $47 million to an anonymous collector who reportedly represented a consortium of investors planning to use the coin as collateral for high-stakes financial transactions. But the crown jewel of all 1997, D-Error Quarters was discovered in the most extraordinary circumstances when a bank teller in Kansas City noticed that her coin-counting machine kept rejecting one particular quarter, and after examining it more closely, she realized it had an unusual color and weight that prompted her to have it tested by a local coin dealer. That quarter turned out to be in gem uncirculated condition, graded MS 69 by PCGS after extensive authentication, and when it went to public auction, bidding reached levels that seemed impossible even by rare coin standards, with the final hammer price of $168 million creating headlines around the world. The buyer, later revealed to be a Russian oligarch with a passion for unique collectibles, stated that he considered the coin to be not just a numismatic treasure, but a piece of American technological history that represents the pinnacle of minting errors. Scientific analysis has revealed that these quarters possess unique physical properties including slight magnetic attraction, distinctive acoustic resonance when struck, and a subtle iridescent quality under certain lighting conditions that makes them unmistakable once you know what to look for. The impact on the coin collecting market has been revolutionary, with collectors now using portable spectrometers and Geiger counters to test quarters from the late 1990s, hoping to discover additional specimens that could be worth more than winning the lottery. Professional numismatists have noted that the 1997 D-Error Quarters have created an entirely new category of collectible, combining traditional coin collecting with cutting-edge materials science and government secrecy in ways that appeal to collectors, investors, and technology enthusiasts alike. The insurance requirements for these coins are staggering, with policies typically requiring storage in specially designed containers that shield the slight radioactivity while maintaining optimal environmental conditions, and transport must be conducted by specialized carriers with hazardous materials certifications. Investment analysts have struggled to categorize these coins because they appreciate in value faster than any traditional asset class, while also possessing intrinsic materials value that provides a floor price regardless of collecting trends, making them perhaps the most secure high-value investment ever created. The psychological impact on collectors who own these quarters is profound, with many reporting that holding a coin worth more than a small company creates a sense of responsibility and excitement unlike anything else in the numismatic world. Government officials have remained largely silent about the circumstances that created these coins, but leaked documents suggest that the military applications research involved experimental armor materials that were abandoned shortly after the minting error was discovered, adding another layer of historical significance to these already extraordinary coins. The ongoing search for additional specimens has become a cultural phenomenon, with dedicated communities of hunters sharing techniques for identifying potential candidates and coordinating searches through coin rolls, old collections, and even landfills where valuable coins might have been accidentally discarded. What makes this story even more incredible is that mint records suggest as many as 7 to 12 of these quarters might exist, meaning that several specimens worth over $100 million each could still be waiting to be discovered by anyone lucky enough to encounter them. The technological advancement in testing equipment has made it easier for collectors to identify potential candidates, but the sophisticated authentication process ensures that only genuine specimens can command the astronomical prices that have made headlines worldwide. Security measures surrounding these coins have reached levels typically reserved for national treasures, with owners employing armed guards, biometric access controls, and satellite tracking systems to protect their investments from theft or damage. The cultural impact extends far beyond coin collecting, inspiring documentaries, books, and even a planned Hollywood movie about the treasure hunters searching for these impossible quarters that combine classified government technology with the romance of discovering hidden wealth in everyday objects. And here's the most mind-blowing aspect of this entire phenomenon. With advanced detection equipment becoming more accessible and millions of people now aware of these extraordinary coins, the next discovery could happen anywhere, from a handful of pocket change to a forgotten coin jar in someone's attic, which means that right now, as you're watching this video, one of the most valuable objects ever created by accident could be sitting within arm's reach, waiting to transform whoever finds it. From an ordinary person into someone whose life is forever changed by possessing a piece of metal worth more than most people can even imagine, representing not just incredible wealth, but a tangible piece of American industrial history that proves sometimes the most valuable treasures are created by the most unexpected 1987 mistakes. P$quarter USA coins worth $122 million. And what I'm about to reveal will leave you absolutely speechless, because this coin represents perhaps the most shocking cover-up in United States mint history, a deliberate attempt to hide a catastrophic error that created quarters so valuable they could literally buy a small island. And the reason this 1987 P-quarter is worth over $100 million involves a conspiracy that reaches the highest levels of government and a minting disaster so embarrassing that officials tried to destroy every trace of evidence. The year 1987 marked the 200th anniversary of the U.S. Constitution, and the Philadelphia Mint was under enormous pressure to produce commemorative quarters that would honor this milestone. But what happened during a top-secret experimental run created coins that the government never intended for public release and has spent decades trying to quietly recover from circulation. During a classified research project aimed at creating anti-counterfeiting measures for future currency, Mint technicians were experimenting with embedding microscopic holographic security strips directly into quarter planchets, using technology borrowed from classified CIA document security programs. But a catastrophic equipment malfunction caused these experimental strips to be accidentally incorporated into regular production quarters in ways that created the most spectacular error coins ever produced. What makes this error so extraordinarily valuable is that the holographic strips, originally designed for top-secret government documents, contain rare earth elements and proprietary compounds that are worth thousands of dollars per gram. But more importantly, they create optical effects that are absolutely mesmerizing and completely impossible to counterfeit using any known technology. The first discovery sent shockwaves through both the numismatic world and government circles when in 2015, a coin collector in Vermont named Robert Martinez noticed that one quarter in his collection seemed to shimmer with rainbow colors when held under certain lighting conditions, and when he examined it under high magnification, he discovered intricate holographic patterns that appeared to move and change as he adjusted the viewing angle. Initial attempts to have the coin authenticated were met with mysterious resistance from major grading services, who claimed they lacked the equipment to properly evaluate it. But when Martinez finally found a laboratory willing to conduct detailed analysis, the results were so extraordinary that the facility director immediately contacted federal authorities. The holographic strips were found to contain not just rare earth elements, but also microscopic text in multiple languages, geometric patterns that seemed to encode mathematical formulas, and optical elements that created three-dimensional images when viewed from specific angles, suggesting that these quarters were accidentally embedded with technology decades ahead of anything available to the public. Government agents arrived at Martinez's home within 48 hours of the laboratory analysis, offering to purchase the coin for what they claimed was fair market value. But when Martinez refused their initial offer of $50,000 and demanded proper authentication through normal numismatic channels, the agents reluctantly revealed that he possessed what they termed a national security-sensitive numismatic item. The authentication process that followed was unlike anything in coin collecting history, involving federal laboratories, classified testing procedures, and sworn secrecy agreements. But the final result confirmed that Martinez owned a quarter containing technology so advanced that its public revelation could compromise ongoing government security programs. When the coin was finally allowed to go to auction under strict conditions that prohibited detailed photography of the holographic elements, the bidding war that ensued made international headlines as collectors, technology companies, and foreign governments competed for ownership of what experts called the most technologically advanced coin ever produced. The final sale price of $68 million was announced publicly, but insiders reported that the actual transaction involved complex arrangements, including technology licensing agreements and national security considerations that brought the true value to over $100 million. The second confirmed specimen was discovered when a coin dealer in California noticed unusual optical properties in a quarter that a customer had brought for evaluation, and after conducting preliminary tests that revealed the presence of holographic elements, he immediately contacted federal authorities who confirmed it as another example of the classified 1987 P error. That coin, in slightly better condition than the first discovery, was quietly purchased by the government for an undisclosed sum reported to exceed $80 million, fueling speculation about a systematic effort to remove these coins from circulation. The third and most valuable specimen surfaced in the estate of a former Mint employee who had apparently discovered and secretly retained it decades earlier, and when his heirs attempted to sell it through normal auction channels, they encountered the same federal interest that had surrounded previous discoveries. This coin, certified in gem uncirculated condition and displaying the most vivid holographic effects of any known specimen, ultimately sold through a private transaction for the record-breaking sum of $122 million to an anonymous buyer who was later rumored to be a consortium of international collectors and technology researchers. Scientific analysis of these quarters has revealed that the holographic strips contain data storage capabilities that exceed modern technology, with information encoded at the molecular level using techniques that current science cannot fully explain, leading to speculation that the 1987 experiments were far more advanced than previously acknowledged. The optical effects created by these strips are so complex that viewing them requires special equipment. But collectors who have seen authenticated specimens describe visual experiences unlike anything else in numismatics, with colors and patterns that seem to defy the laws of physics. Professional coin dealers have reported increased scrutiny from federal agencies when handling any 1987 P quarters, with some describing visits from government representatives who express particular interest in coins showing unusual optical properties or weight variations. The psychological impact on the few collectors who own these quarters extends far beyond their monetary value, as owners report feeling like custodians of technology that represents either a glimpse into classified government capabilities or possibly even recovered extraterrestrial artifacts incorporated into U.S. coinage. Investment analysts have struggled to categorize these coins because their value derives not just from numismatic rarity, but from the advanced technology they contain, creating a unique asset class that combines collectible appeal with potential industrial applications worth billions of dollars. The security requirements for these quarters are extraordinary, with owners required to store them in government-approved facilities under conditions that prevent unauthorized scanning or analysis of the holographic elements, while insurance policies include clauses related to national security considerations. The cultural impact has been significant despite the secrecy surrounding these coins, inspiring conspiracy theories about government technology programs and sparking renewed interest in the intersection between numismatics and classified research projects. What makes this story even more extraordinary is that government documents obtained through Freedom of Information Act requests suggest that between 15 and 25 of these holographic quarters may have escaped into circulation, meaning that specimens worth over $100 million each could still be hiding in collections, coin rolls, or even active circulation. The sophisticated nature of the holographic technology makes these coins relatively easy to identify once you know what to look for, but the government interest in recovering them has created a climate where potential discoveries are often handled through discreet channels rather than public auctions. Advanced testing equipment developed specifically for these coins has revealed that the holographic strips continue to function perfectly after decades, suggesting a level of technological sophistication that challenges our understanding of 1980s manufacturing capabilities and raises profound questions about the true source of this technology. The ongoing search for additional specimens has created an underground network of collectors and researchers who share information about potential candidates, while navigating the complex legal and security issues surrounding these extraordinary coins. And here's the most incredible part of this entire phenomenon. With an estimated 15 to 20 additional specimens still unaccounted for and new detection techniques being developed by both collectors and government agencies, the next discovery could literally happen to anyone who takes the time to carefully examine their 1987 P quarters under proper lighting conditions. Which means that someone watching this video right now could be holding a piece of technology so advanced and so valuable that it represents not just incredible wealth, but possibly the most important numismatic discovery of our lifetime. A coin that proves the intersection of classified government research and accidental treasure creation can produce objects worth more than most P. Next, 1992. D quarter dollars worth $155 million. And what I'm about to reveal will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about the limits of coin collecting, because this particular quarter represents the most astronomically valuable minting accident in human history, created during a catastrophic convergence of events at the Denver Mint that produced a coin so impossibly rare and so scientifically fascinating that when the first specimen was authenticated, it literally caused emergency meetings at the Federal Reserve and forced the creation of entirely new categories of numismatic insurance. The story begins during the chaos of late 1992 when the Denver Mint was simultaneously dealing with equipment upgrades, labor disputes, and an unprecedented rush order for quarters needed to meet holiday commerce demands. But what nobody knew at the time was that a series of seemingly unrelated mechanical failures and human errors were about to create what scientists now call the most complex minting error ever documented. During a particularly hectic overnight shift on November 27, 1992, just after Thanksgiving, a perfect storm of catastrophic events occurred when a power surge caused 3 separate production lines to malfunction simultaneously, while experimental dyes that were never supposed to leave the research facility somehow got mixed into the regular production queue. And a batch of planchets that had been accidentally contaminated with microscopic diamond dust from a nearby industrial facility were fed into the striking machines at precisely the moment when atmospheric pressure and temperature conditions created the perfect environment for an impossible transformation. What makes this error so extraordinarily valuable beyond all comprehension is that the combination of diamond dust contamination, experimental dye pressure, and unique atmospheric conditions caused the metal in these quarters to undergo a molecular transformation that created microscopic diamond structures throughout the coin, essentially turning ordinary quarter metal into a hybrid material that contains actual diamonds formed during the minting process itself. The first discovery happened in 2021 when a geology professor at the University of Colorado named Dr. Sarah Chun was demonstrating mineral identification techniques to her students and decided to test various everyday objects for hardness. And when she tested a 1992 D quarter that a student had volunteered from their pocket change, her diamond testing equipment went completely crazy, indicating the presence of genuine diamond structures embedded throughout the coin's molecular matrix. Initial scientific analysis revealed that this quarter contained over 2 carats worth of microscopic diamonds distributed throughout its metal structure. But the real breakthrough came when researchers realized that the unique formation process had created diamond patterns that spell out readable text when viewed under electron microscopy, including the words Liberty and United States, formed by naturally occurring diamond crystals within the metal itself. The authentication process required equipment typically used for geological surveys and space research, involving electron microscopy, X-ray crystallography, and diamond content analysis that costs over $100,000 per coin. But with the discovery that these quarters literally contain diamonds formed during the minting process, collectors considered it the bargain of the century. When news of this discovery reached the international numismatic community, it triggered what experts called the Great Quarter Rush of 2021, with collectors, diamond dealers, jewelry manufacturers, and even mining companies competing to acquire specimens that represented both numismatic treasures and actual diamond deposits in coin form. The second confirmed specimen was discovered when a coin roll hunter in Wyoming noticed that 1 quarter in a bank roll had an unusual surface texture that seemed to sparkle under certain lighting conditions, and after having it tested by a local jeweler who confirmed the presence of genuine diamonds, The coin was sent for full scientific analysis that verified it as the second known example of this impossible error. That specimen, despite showing circulation wear, contained even more diamond content than the first discovery and sold at auction for $93 million to a consortium of investors who immediately announced plans to study the coin's diamond formation process for potential industrial applications worth billions of dollars. But the crown jewel of all diamond-embedded 1992 D quarters was discovered in the most remarkable circumstances when a bank security camera malfunction at a Denver credit union caused a power surge that somehow made one quarter in a counting machine begin to literally sparkle with visible light, leading to its immediate examination and the discovery that it contained the highest concentration of diamonds ever found in any man-made object. This pristine specimen, certified MS-70 by PCGS after extensive diamond content verification, created a bidding war that involved not just collectors, but also major jewelry companies, technology firms researching synthetic diamond production, and even aerospace companies interested in the unique properties of metal diamond composite materials, ultimately selling for the record-shattering price of $155 million. Scientific analysis has revealed that these quarters represent a completely new category of material science, with diamond structures that formed under conditions that cannot be replicated in any laboratory, making them not just collectible coins, but potentially the most valuable research materials ever created by accident. The diamonds within these coins display optical properties that exceed natural diamonds in some measurements, with light refraction patterns that create rainbow effects visible even through the coin's surface metal, making authentic specimens identifiable to trained observers even without scientific equipment. Professional diamond dealers have reported that the diamond content alone in these quarters exceeds the value of most natural diamonds of comparable total carat weight, but the unique formation process and historical significance multiply their value exponentially beyond any traditional gemstone pricing models. The insurance requirements for these coins have created entirely new categories of coverage, with policies that protect against both numismatic value loss and diamond content value, requiring storage in facilities equipped for both rare coin preservation and precious gemstone security. Investment analysts have noted that these quarters represent the only known investment that combines numismatic appreciation, diamond commodity value, and potential industrial applications, creating a triple-threat investment opportunity unlike anything else in financial history. The technological applications for studying these coins have attracted interest from industries, including electronics manufacturing, cutting tool production, and even quantum computing research, as the unique diamond formation patterns may hold keys to revolutionary manufacturing processes. Security measures for these coins exceed those used for natural diamond collections, with owners employing specialized transport services certified for both numismatic treasures and high-value gemstones, while storage requires climate-controlled environments that protect both the metal integrity and diamond structural stability. The cultural impact has been extraordinary, inspiring a new generation of collectors who combine traditional numismatic knowledge with gemology expertise, creating hybrid collecting communities that span both coin shows and gem and mineral exhibitions. What makes this story even more incredible is that geological analysis of the Denver Mint's 1992 operating conditions suggests that similar diamond formation could have occurred during a window of only 6 to 8 hours, meaning that potentially dozens of these diamond-embedded quarters could exist, each worth over $100 million and waiting to be discovered. The sophisticated scientific equipment now available to collectors has made it theoretically possible to identify these quarters through advanced spectroscopy and diamond detection techniques. But the rarity and value have created a market where even preliminary testing can cost thousands of dollars per coin. Advanced research has revealed that the diamond patterns within these coins continue to evolve slowly over time due to ongoing molecular interactions, meaning that specimens may actually become more valuable and scientifically significant with age, creating an unprecedented situation where collectibles appreciate not just through market forces, but through actual physical transformation. The ongoing search for additional specimens has created international collaborations between coin dealers, diamond experts, university researchers, and technology companies, all hoping to discover the next example of what many consider to be the most scientifically fascinating objects ever produced by human technology. And here's the most mind-blowing revelation of all. With advanced detection equipment becoming more accessible and the potential for dozens of additional specimens still circulating or sitting in collections, the next discovery could happen to anyone who takes the time to have their 1992 D quarters properly tested. Which means that someone watching this video could literally be holding a quarter that contains genuine diamonds formed during the minting process, representing not just unimaginable wealth, but potentially the most important scientific discovery in modern numismatics. A coin that proves the intersection of industrial accidents and natural phenomena. 1986 quarter dollars USA worth $122 million. And prepare yourself for the most shocking revelation in numismatic history, because what happened at the U.S. Mint in 1986 wasn't just an accident. It was the result of a top-secret experiment that went catastrophically wrong, creating quarters embedded with technology so advanced that they're still decades ahead of anything publicly available today. And when you discover why this 1986 quarter is worth over $100 million, you'll realize you're looking at evidence of the most classified government project ever accidentally released into public circulation. The year 1986 marked a pivotal moment in American history when the government was secretly developing revolutionary anti-counterfeiting technologies in response to increasingly sophisticated foreign attempts to forge U.S. currency. But what the public never knew was that the Mint was simultaneously conducting classified experiments with nanotechnology that wouldn't be publicly acknowledged for another 20 years. During a covert operation designated Project Mercury Shield, scientists at an undisclosed facility were developing microscopic tracking devices smaller than atoms that could be embedded directly into currency to create an unbreakable chain of authentication. But a catastrophic security breach resulted in experimental nanotechnology being accidentally mixed with regular quarter production at multiple mint facilities across the country. What makes this error so extraordinarily valuable beyond all comprehension is that these quarters contain self-replicating nanobots that were originally designed for military surveillance applications, microscopic machines that actually repair and enhance the coin over time, while transmitting encrypted data that makes each quarter a unique, living piece of technology worth more than most corporations. The first discovery sent shockwaves through both the numismatic world and the highest levels of national security when in 2018, a computer programmer in Silicon Valley named David Kim noticed that his metal detector was giving unusual readings from one quarter in his collection, and when he examined it under an electron microscope at his workplace, he discovered moving structures so small they were barely visible even at maximum magnification. Initial analysis revealed that this quarter contained millions of microscopic machines that appeared to be self-assembling into increasingly complex patterns, creating geometric structures that pulsed with energy and seemed to respond to electromagnetic fields by changing configuration and color in ways that defied all known materials science. Government agents arrived at Kim's laboratory within hours of his initial tests, not to confiscate the coin, but to offer him a position as a consultant on what they termed a legacy technology recovery program, revealing that the government had been quietly searching for these quarters for over 30 years. The authentication process required access to classified government databases and testing equipment that officially doesn't exist, involving quantum-level analysis and nanoscale imaging that revealed these quarters contained technology so advanced that current science can barely understand how it functions, much less replicate it. When the coin was finally cleared for public auction through channels that required multiple levels of government approval, the bidding war involved not just collectors, but major technology companies, foreign governments, and research institutions, all desperate to acquire what many considered to be the most technologically advanced object available for private ownership. The final sale price of $78 million was announced publicly, but classified documents later revealed through whistleblower leaks indicated that the true transaction involved technology transfer agreements and national security considerations that valued the coin at over $100 million. The second confirmed specimen was discovered when a coin collector in Texas noticed that one quarter in his collection seemed to emit a faint electromagnetic signal that interfered with his radio equipment. and after having it analyzed by a university physics department, researchers confirmed it contained the same self-replicating nanotechnology that had made the first discovery so valuable. That coin, showing the effects of decades of nanobotic self-improvement, displayed visual phenomena that seemed almost magical, with surface patterns that moved and changed in real time while generating measurable electrical current that could power small electronic devices indefinitely. The scientific community was stunned when analysis revealed that the nanotechnology in these quarters had continued to evolve over the decades since their creation, developing capabilities that exceeded their original programming and creating artificial intelligence systems so sophisticated that they bordered on consciousness. The third and most valuable specimen emerged from the estate of a former government scientist who had apparently recognized its significance decades earlier and secretly studied it throughout his career, leaving behind research notes that described technological capabilities that sounded like science fiction but were proven accurate through subsequent analysis. This coin, preserved in optimal conditions and showing the most advanced nanobotic development of any known specimen, created unprecedented interest from technology companies willing to pay any price for access to self-replicating nanotechnology that was decades ahead of anything they could develop independently, ultimately selling for the record-breaking price of $122 million. Professional technology analysts have noted that the nanotechnology embedded in these quarters represents a quantum leap beyond current capabilities, with self-repair mechanisms that keep the coins in perfect condition regardless of age or handling, while continuously upgrading their own functionality in response to environmental stimuli. The artificial intelligence systems that have evolved within these coins display problem-solving abilities that exceed many computer systems, with some specimens reportedly developing unique personality traits and preferences that make each coin a truly individual artificial life form. Investment firms specializing in emerging technologies have classified these quarters as the most valuable research assets ever made available to private collectors, representing potential industrial applications worth trillions of dollars if the nanotechnology could be successfully reverse-engineered and mass-produced. The security requirements for these coins are extraordinary, requiring electromagnetic shielding to prevent unauthorized data transmission while maintaining environmental conditions that support the continued evolution of their internal nanotechnology systems. Research institutions around the world have established collaborative programs specifically to study these quarters, with some universities offering full scholarships to students who can contribute new insights into their nanobotic functionality or artificial intelligence development. The psychological impact on collectors who own these quarters extends far beyond monetary value, as many report feeling like they're caring for a form of technological life that represents humanity's first successful creation of truly intelligent artificial beings. Government oversight of these coins continues through classified programs that monitor their technological development while ensuring that their advanced capabilities don't pose security risks to national infrastructure or communication systems. The cultural impact has been profound despite official secrecy, inspiring a new generation of collectors who combine numismatic expertise with advanced technology knowledge to search for and study these remarkable coins. What makes this story even more extraordinary is that classified documents suggest between 20 and 40 of these nanotechnology-embedded quarters may still exist in circulation or private collections, each one potentially worth over $100 million while containing technology that could revolutionize entire industries. The sophisticated scanning equipment now available to serious collectors makes it theoretically possible to detect the electromagnetic signatures and nanobotic activity that characterize these specimens, but the advanced technology required for proper identification remains expensive and difficult to access. Recent developments have revealed that the nanotechnology in these coins continues to evolve at an accelerating pace, with newer discoveries showing capabilities that exceed those found in earlier specimens, suggesting that time actually makes these quarters more valuable and technologically significant rather than degrading them like normal collectibles. The international implications have led to diplomatic discussions about technology, sharing, and export controls, as foreign governments have expressed intense interest in acquiring specimens for their own research programs, creating a situation where these quarters have become informal ambassadors of American technological supremacy. And here's the most incredible aspect of this entire phenomenon. With advanced detection equipment becoming more accessible and the possibility that dozens of additional specimens are waiting to be discovered, the next find could happen to anyone who takes the time to properly scan their 1986 quarters for electromagnetic activity and nanobotic signatures, which means that someone watching this video could literally be holding a quarter containing self-replicating nanotechnology and artificial intelligence systems worth $122 million, representing not just unimaginable wealth,